So here is the moment, right? Everybody's talking about. So here's when Tulsi laid the smackdown on Kamala. The thing that's amazing to me is that Kamala Harris was not ready for this moment at all. You didn't know this was coming at all? You didn't know this was coming? Okay, here we go.
You know what? I like to think of this as political porn.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
All right, here we go.
State of California, and I'm proud of that work.
I want to bring in Congresswoman Gabbard. Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with...
By the way, just the choice of clothing. You know Kamala Harris was like, can you believe she's fucking wearing white? Kamala Harris looks like she's dressed like an undertaker. And then she's got to go up against a virgin pure Hawaiian. Are you shitting me? It's like, why didn't she just ride in on a white horse, you know?
State of California, and I'm proud of that work.
I want to bring in Congresswoman Gabbard. Congresswoman Gabbard.
It's like Batman is coming to fuck you up. That's what it looks like to me. All right, here we go. I'm biased.
You took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
My response is I'm going to ignore your bullshit framing. And I'm going to talk about something that actually matters because I'm a fucking major in the Army. I don't take shit from a motherfucker like you, Jake Tucker.
Bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Yeah.
She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris,
This is when everybody in America got to find out that Kamala Harris has a glass jaw. Watch this, here we go.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system.
She's literally choking on her own words.
Because her whole brain is like, oh wait, this is a woman of color. I can't play the race card. Oh shit, she's a combat vet. Fuck, I can't play any of my tough guy routine. Oh shit, I'm fucked.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of
our for-profit prison system.
Significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body.
Fancy speeches? You mean like, does that mean factual speeches? Says, when are facts fancy? Right? Hey, do these pants make me look fat? Don't get all fancy. Hey, let me tell you something, Kamala. If you think that's fancy language, you should hear what the black people you locked up for marijuana say fucking behind bars. You should hear it. That's some pretty fancy language they're using when they talk about you. Well, while you were being fancy over in Hawaii, I was fucking over more black people than Equifax. Again, this is not the Wheel of Fortune. It's a nightclub, we're all drinking. Let's fucking, all right? Okay, here we go.
And give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
And that is why when Tulsi Gabbard was serving our country in Iraq, I was throwing low-level drug offenders in jail.
That is why we created initiatives that were about re-entering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize but legalize marijuana in the
And then give those criminals opportunities to fight fires for $1 a day. That's what I say we do. Okay.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The
ma'am?
bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you were in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Well, there you go. I think Joe Biden's a winner. I would say. So here's something that's extra painful is when they interviewed Kamala Harris on CNN, Anderson Cooper. And by the way, who better to let you know, to talk to working class America about their needs than Vanderbilt, somebody from the Vanderbilt family. Fucking Anderson Cooper. He's Anderson Vanderbilt is what we should call him. So, but when they made Kamala Harris, Anderson Cooper made Kamala Harris sit there and watch this video. It's like, I like to watch boxing, and afterwards, like if somebody gets knocked out, they're like, what happened here? I don't know, I got knocked out, and so I don't remember. So that's kind of what they do to her here. Watch this.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record.
That's beautiful.
She's like, are you fucking kidding?
That's fucking beautiful.
Holy shit.
And then she has to, and she goes, and I'm actually trying hard to hear this? That's what, like, why do you want to hear this? Anyway, here we go.
There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence.
They're making her watch this.
Would have freed an innocent
And then she's
man
like, fuck it,
from
I'm not
death
listening
row
anymore.
Until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
She's like, are we gonna watch the whole goddamn thing?
She might not like it, but I made it my ringtone.
So here's her big defense. This is her defense against this. So, by the way, if you noticed on any of the interviews that Kamala Harris did afterwards where she smears Tulsi Gabbard, none of the reporters pressed Kamala Harris to answer the charges that Tulsi Gabbard brought up, but everybody asked Tulsi to answer the charges that Kamala Harris brings up. Did you notice that too? Yeah, watch this. Here we go.
Did you expect that from Tulsi Gabbard?
Oh yeah, I expected that. That's why I didn't have a response ready.
Wait a minute. I kept thinking, Jimmy, I kept thinking that Kamala was just going to say, that's not in my purview.
That's right.
That in the past, and how do you think it went?
Well, I mean, listen,
How do you think it went?
When you got knocked out and the eyes rolled in the back of your head and you got up and were swinging at the corner guy because you didn't know where you were, how did that go? How was that?
It looked like you actually pissed yourself.
Yeah.
Is that a good sign? Is that a bad sign?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is that good? Did it go good? Anderson Cooper. But watch her response, and imagine if Bernie Sanders said this.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate, and so
Wait a minute, watch this. Wait, she got more.
did expect that I would be on the stage and take hits tonight because there are a lot of people that are trying to make the stage for the next debate.
Yeah,
I think
for a lot of them, it's do or die.
Well, yeah, and especially when people are at 0 or 1% or whatever she might be at.
Imagine if Bernie said that. You know, I'm the hot shot in the race right now, and this fucking Bennett guy's not polling at all. So, you know, I'm much cooler than these guys, obviously. I'm a top-tier candidate. Could you imagine if he said that, how they would never let him live that down? Go ahead, Rob.
I am a top-tier candidate. John Delaney gets owned every time he puts out a tweet.
I'm a top-tier candidate, she says. That's amazing. That kind of shows you.
So I did expect that I might take hits tonight. But, you know, listen, I think that this coming from someone who has been an apologist for an individual, Assad, who has murdered the people of his country to, like cockroaches.
What does that mean, like what does that even mean? He killed them like cockroaches. Did he use raid? Or that's my old joke about he killed them horribly, not like how we kill people. We kill people with Christian bombs made by Christians in Christian factories. And when our Christian bombs explode, they don't hurt you, they hug you to death. He's killing them like cockroaches. It's just this made up shit. And remember when Assad, the president of Syria, invaded Syria?
Now, let's be fair. You remember when fucking Assad took over One West Bank, bought up all those goddamn mortgages, donated to her campaign, and then she didn't prosecute Assad, and that's why he's still free. Oh, fuck, I got my names wrong. I was thinking of Steve Mnuchin, who she fucking voted for him to be Secretary of Treasurer. That's who I keep getting it confused. Shut the fuck up, Kamala, with your fucking bullshit. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I'm so sick of listening to this bullshit. Why don't you also talk about when you were district attorney and you protected pedophile priests? Why don't you talk about that? Talk to me about that. Because I tell you what, Assad didn't take my fucking house. Maduro didn't take my fucking house. Iran didn't take my fucking house. Jill Stein didn't take my fucking house. Susan Sarandon didn't take my fucking house. These motherfuckers took my house. And I'd like to see Tulsi Gabbard whoop your fucking corporate oligarch ass.
Graham, I don't understand why Susan Sarandon's going to take your house.
Graham, that's a lot.
I got confused.
The Burn Bros made her do it.
So I once went to see Wayne Newton in Las Vegas. And when he couldn't hit the high notes anymore, he had a young guy sitting behind him and he would do it. And that's why I have Graham here, because I'm a little out of energy. And so when I don't have the energy to do that shit anymore, I'm glad he could come in. I mean, I've got to take some Metamucil, but he...
Sit behind you.
Yes, yeah. So that's all they got. So that's all they have. That's all they... and I don't even want to play that. But here's what a real journalist said about that. A real journalist, David Schuster, said that Tulsi Gabbard takedown of Kamala Harris was one of the most lethal I've ever seen in decades of watching these debates. And after Harris offered a feeble response, Gabbard crushed her again. Brutal. Here's what Kamala Harris's press secretary tweeted out. Reporters writing their stories with eyes on modern day assignment desk of Twitter read this. The Russian propaganda machine that tried to influence the 2016 election is now promoting the presidential aspirations of a country. That's all he can do. That's all they can do. That's all they can do is smear her as not patriotic enough. She is currently serving as a leader in our military, and when people like do that, what the fuck do you think her soldiers are thinking when they, oh, well, I'm supposed to follow her, but they say she's a Russian asset? So what they're doing, remember when everybody was upset that Trump went after that Gold Star family and they pretended to be morally outraged? Well, they're not. They're all hypocritic motherfuckers. Because here they are, a living soldier who's in the military currently, who's serving in their stupid fucking foreign wars, and they're still smearing her as a Russian asset. That's what they're doing. It's amazing. Here is the guy, Richard Stengel. This guy is the former editor of Time magazine. He retweets a guy who's a MSNBC contributor who retweets a thing from RT saying, and that's the top story at RT, Russia Today this morning, after the Democratic debate. Of course, what everyone saw, right? Social media going wild for Tulsi Gabbard, populist, after she went after establishment Democratic Harris, who happens to be on the Senate Intelligence Committee, a Russia investigation. So she's saying this is Russia, and then the guy who's the former editor of Time magazine retweets it, saying this is a clear example of Russian disinformation. Do you know that this guy, I've showed you a video of that guy who's the former editor of Time magazine saying propaganda is good. And here he is doing it right now. He's doing propaganda against this fucking serving major in the army right now. These guys don't give a fuck. These guys are the scum of the earth. The people who volunteer to go fight in their bullshit foreign wars, they'll still smear them if they ever tell the truth about it, even while they're still serving and they're a congressperson. These guys are the scum of the earth's motherfuckers. That's what they are. Here's another guy. Wahayat Ali says, beware the Russian bots and their promotion of Tulsi Gabbard and sowing racial discord, especially around Kamala Harris. Hey, who is that guy? That guy is a contributor to the New York Times and the CNN. Fucking of course he is. That's how you get hired. Well, New York Times and CNN never gonna hire me. They're gonna smear me. They're gonna hire a piece of shit like this fucking guy because he'll take a check directly from the CIA if he feels like it to go smear a fucking Tulsi Gabbard. That's all this is, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is August 24th in Denver, Colorado. Then we're going to San Francisco, Seattle, Baltimore, and Honolulu for Christmas. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets. And if you'd like to support the show, that's how we do this. Become a premium member or a Patreon patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.